Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game S. So today I'm going to continue the series, the Unported playlist, where I take some of my favorite unported arcade games of all time, and today we're playing Road Fighters 3D by Konami. If you know anything about the channel, you know I love Konami arcade games, and I love arcade racing games, so when you put them together and it reminds me of Initial D just made by Konami, you know you're in for a good time. And this is a continuation of the Road Fighters franchise, which also has Winding Heat, an arcade board I've shown on the channel before, involved. And when I say this game is 10 out of 10 fun, wild, and intense, I 100% mean it. Before I get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But Road Fighters 3D obviously is just a 3D arcade racing game, but you're going to see that there's a damage meter both on you, as well as the one or multiple opponents you're facing in any particular race. You can play this game multiple ways, just trying to get the checkered flag. You can try to destroy your opponent. You can kind of do whatever you really want. But the best part is this has got some of the most satisfying drifting mechanics in any arcade racing game outside of Sega's own Initial D. The controls and physics engine in this thing are just absolutely superb, and the sensation of drifting an entire highway off-ramp to get down to surface streets without touching the wall whatsoever absolutely makes me a very happy arcade gamer. And the best part is there's so many different types of tracks in this game as well. There's going to be some highway tracks that feel a little bit more like Wangan Midnight Tune. You're going to have the classic uphill, downhill, kind of switchback turns of Initial D. You're even going to have some NASCAR style ovals on dirt where you're basically trying to destroy trucks. This game basically just throws everything in the kitchen sink at you, and it absolutely works. And again, initially it is down to the driving mechanics. An arcade racing game lives or dies by its ability to control the vehicle and for you to feel like you're in control. And when you do something good, it's because you were talented, and when you hit the wall, it's because you made a mistake. This game should be the definition of a game that does that correctly. Every single drift, every single turn is achievable, and once you understand where to let go of the acceleration, where to use a little bit of brake, and kind of how to feather that wheel around a corner, your drifting is going to be absolutely perfect. It is the type of game that you're going to have to practice at a little bit, but the good thing is it is so much fun to play, and each race is maybe 2 minutes long at the most, some of them only lasting a minute and a half, you'll see here. Again, I took the checkered flag, and this game has a full progression system as you go through multiple stages, face boss opponents, upgrade your vehicle, and so much more. So the amount of content here is just a ton of fun. Some of it is locked and you will need to use spice tools to get into different modes, and maybe I'll do a tutorial on that in the future. But the other best part thing is you can play this game for free today at home on your PC via spice tools. As we move on to the next track, again, I do hit the wall a few times, and that was because I made a mistake and initiated my drift too late. But you'll see there, when you actually take a clean racing line and kind of feather that accelerator, you're going to be able to absolutely nail these things. And while this game did come out in 2010 and is now basically almost 15 years old, the graphics still look really nice today and look absolutely outstanding back in the day. The other hook about this arcade cabinet that we can't really deal with on YouTube is that it did have a set of 3D glasses, and you can play this game in 2D or 3D. And if you have the right style glasses for your PC at home, and I'm sure most people do not, you could do that again today. But honestly, the 3D fad was never really anything I liked in arcades or on home consoles, so it's not like I feel like I'm missing anything here. And your opponents are definitely going to bump and run on you and try to knock you out and damage your vehicle, because your vehicle can just absolutely flip and explode once that damage meter goes up to 100%, and then you basically respawn and you take a lot of loss as far as your progress on the track is concerned. But that is the risk versus reward of Road Fighters 3D. How hard are you going to push? Are you going to try to destroy your opponent? Are you going to try to preserve your own health? Or are you just going to try to drift into a first place finish on the last corner? The other best part about this game is it has an absolutely awesome soundtrack, including some music that would end up in Konami rhythm games that are way more popular and well known than Road Fighters 3D. And if you know anything about Konami, they always had amazing soundtracks in the arcades. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds and I'll come back and show you more of Road Fighter 3D and tell you why it's an absolute hidden gem of arcade racing you probably never played. But enjoy! Absolutely awesome music, and it totally drives the intensity, especially on a course like this with all of these switchbacks going down this two-style road. And if you can't tell already, this is basically Konami's take on Initial D. And if imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, Konami is saying that Initial D is one of the best games of all time, and they think they can keep up with it. And while not every single course in this game is going to be Initial D style, with the physics, with the drifting, with the handling mechanics, I have every bit as fun playing this course as I would if it was in an Initial D game. And that's the thing, Konami back in the day was an amazing maker of video games. Sadly today they're mostly just a patchy slot machine company that every once in a while dumps out a game that really isn't that good. But this was still in the quote-unquote glory days of Konami. They weren't making as many arcade games as they did in the 90s and early 2000s, but this was still some of their best developers putting a game out there that was just a ton of fun. And as you see me drifting around all of these corners, the ones that I do well, there I bump the wall. The sensation of speed, of handling, and just straight up fun is second to none in this game. I would put this up there with Long and Midnight Tuned or Initial D any day of the week and say it can 100% keep up. But of course the reason why not many people know about this game is it really didn't succeed in arcades compared to those series, so it's a game that got one entry in the 3D sphere and then never was heard from again. And this is definitely a game that you're probably never going to see in North America unless you go to an arcade that was importing cabinets back in the day, because I've never actually seen a US release of this game. If you know if there is one, leave me a comment down below, but you'll see here with all of that drifting, I was able to get the first place finish. And my other favorite thing about this game is just the diversity, not only in the track style, but in the location, where you're just basically going down what seemed like a Japanese country road at night, and now we're basically somewhere in Europe, kind of going around this Nürburgring style track. And that is the fun part. Just when you think you've seen one track a little too much, the game completely changes up both the setting as well as a little bit of the play style. Some courses are going to be very drift heavy with a lot of switchback turns, others are going to be a lot more focused on speed and your overall racing line, and that again is awesome. But as my opponent comes up from behind, when you do this bump and run arcade racing gameplay, the sensation of straight up fun in Road Fighters 3D is just an absolute 10 out of 10. And that is not surprising. Obviously Konami made stuff like Thrill Drive, they made Racing Jam, Winding Heat, stuff like that. They made really great racing games, but for some reason, compared to somebody like Namco or Sega, they never really got the same credit that I think they deserved, and their games never hit the same way. Maybe that's just down to marketing, maybe it's that people wanted to play other genres from Konami, but this proves that they still had it in 2010 when it came to arcade racing games. But I'm going to give you one more soundtrack sample because again, with all of the fun music in this game and how they use it, it just 100% works. It's intense and it really makes you want to push that accelerator even harder than you possibly ever could to try to go a little bit faster. So go ahead and listen just for 25 seconds this time, and I'll come back and show you one more taste of Road Fighters 3D. But enjoy because it's good. Just great music, and you will see here that there is a tune-up point that you can use. You can get some more progress in this game. You can level up your vehicle, get faster, get better control. It gives you a lot of reasons to continue to play and come back to the game again and again. And I think the most unfortunate thing about Road Fighters 3D is just the fact that more people don't know about this one. I talk a lot about hidden gems on this arcade series and on my channel in general, but I would put this in the top 10 best hidden gems of all time as far as arcade games are concerned. This has absolutely everything I want out of an arcade racing game. It does not spend any time doing anything other than impressing me and giving me some awesome arcade racing action with superb handling, an amazing physics system, an awesome soundtrack, and for 2010 some great graphics as well. So run, don't walk, and figure out a way to play Road Fighters 3D. If you join my Discord, there's people on there happy to help you with some troubleshooting if you need to get this set up on your computer, because you do need to configure your spice tools to make sure this game will run. Not too hard, but it does take a deft touch. Short of that, if you've never played it before, I can't stress enough, this is a game that you guys should be playing. And if you have played it, tell me your thoughts down below, but trust me, go get some racing in, play Road Fighters 3D, you got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Bye-bye.